In Clash Royale, placing random cards together and hoping your deck works will result in you getting 3 crowned almost every time, leaving you stuck in mid-ladder forever, thinking Supercell absolutely hates you. But understanding card combos and synergy is the key to turning your deck from a luck-based victory into a consistent game-winning deck, whether it's Royal Recruits and Hogs or Expo and Tesla. Today, we'll be going through the 10 combos everyone should know in Clash Royale, and hopefully, one of them will be the key to getting you to the next arena, starting with the classic Hog Rider and Ice Golem. This combo is famous in the Hog 2.6 deck, and provides one of the best synergies in the game. The goal is to get the Ice Golem in front of the Hog, tanking for it as it approaches the tower. Hog Rider is your win condition. It's fast and targets the tower directly, but on its own, it rarely guarantees damage, especially against solid defenses. This is where Ice Golem comes in. Despite costing only 2 elixir, it handles a surprising number of tasks in one slot. It tanks the hits from the tower, it body blocks any ground troops the opponent drops to intercept your Hog, and when it dies, it slows everything down and deals small but meaningful area damage. The reason this combo works so well is the following. First, the Ice Golem is a great and cheap tank to use. As opposed to a giant that costs 5 elixir, the Ice Golem only costs 2, making your Hog and Ice Golem push cost a total of 6 elixir. This will leave you with 4 to defend a potential counter push, or even using a fireball to strike a building, allowing your Hog to do even more damage on the tower. It's also a cheap card you can use to outcycle your opponent, especially with the Hog 2.6 that relies on quick cycling. Using a giant Hog, for example, will cost you 9 elixir, meaning you will have nothing to defend if your opponent counters or pushes the second lane. And the second thing that makes this combo great is the special exploding ability the Ice Golem has when it dies. Along with tanking for the Hog, if your opponent decides to counter with any swarm card, upon death, the Ice Golem will eliminate any cheap swarms around it, leaving the Hog alone on the tower. It also produces a slowing ability similar to a snowball, allowing your Hog to deal even more damage and possibly get an extra hit or 2 at the tower. Hog plus Ice Golem isn't just about one strong push, but it's about consistency. Because of the fast cycle nature of the deck, this means you're constantly threatening another Hog at the bridge. It gives you just enough support to make every Hog a problem, but not so much that you're left vulnerable if it fails. Some Hog decks swap out Ice Golem for the Firecracker, and while the synergy is less direct, it still works for different reasons. The Firecracker offers long-range splash, clearing out possible swarm cards, as well as deals great chip damage to the tower if left undefended. Next, we move on to the Royal Giant and Fisherman. This combo is lethal when played right, and could single-handedly take down a tower with one push. This combo relies on Fisherman's hook mechanic to clear the way for your Royal Giant to deal the most amount of damage possible. You drop an RG at the bridge and a Fisherman behind it, and that combo works like a charm. If your opponent drops a P.E.K.K.A, a mini P.E.K.K.A, a Knight, or a Prince to quickly kill your RG, the Fisherman can yank that threat to a different spot, pulling it off your Royal Giant, and with the right placement, you can even pull it completely out of your RG's range, leaving it to deal even more damage to the tower with your opponent's counter eliminated. Most RG Fisherman decks also run Hunter, and this trio is completely deadly. The Fisherman pulls enemies in, and the Hunter's shotgun style burst obliterates them up close, while your Royal Giant deals the bulk of the damage. This combo is a must learn if you're struggling to break through in your game, as it teaches you a lot about how cards work together. Next, we have the Miner Poison combo, arguably the second most hated combo on this list. The most hated one is the number 10 combo we'll be talking about at the end of the video. On paper, the Miner Poison seems like a very weak combination. There's no big tank or heavy damage dealing win condition, but give it time and can slowly dismantle your opponent's tower and their patience. This is the classic chip control pairing, and it thrives in the hands of players who understand pressure. In reality, this is one of the deadliest combos there is, and it relies on one thing: consistent chip damage across the whole game. The poison creates a zone of denial around the miner, and any troop placed, like bats, archers, goblins, skeleton army, or even musketeer, will immediately start melting, all while dealing chip damage to the tower. This gives your miner enough time to deal even more chip damage, and suddenly, 2 or 3 pushes later, and your enemy's tower is at half health while he's still trying to build his big push. The miner in itself is a great win condition with the right hands and the right deck to support it. It's weak and deals low damage, but paired with the poison and played consistently across the match, and you can take down a tower without your opponent noticing. This combo doesn't rely on brute force. It relies on creating low-risk, high-pressure scenarios over and over. The strength is in the consistency. You can set a miner and poison push every 20 seconds if your deck is optimized for it. And it also becomes even more effective when you're facing decks that rely on cluster defense, like Tombstone, Guards, or Archers. All of them will get neutralized by the poison. These 2 cards don't come alone, however. They usually come with a third card that, let's be honest, should be nerfed by now. I don't know what Supercell is doing leaving them like that. And they are the Wall Breakers. The Miner Poison Wall Breakers is just deadly. It's constant pressure, constant chip damage, and fast cycling to the point where your opponent just completely breaks. Next, we move on to another classic combo, the Giant Graveyard. This combo has been one of the game's most iconic synergies for years. The Giant tanks the tower damage, while the Graveyard Skeleton spawns around it, forcing the opponent to defend perfectly or lose their tower in seconds. The synergy lies in how your opponent is forced to respond. When you drop a giant at the bridge and immediately cast a graveyard on the tower, they have a choice, either defend the giant or defend the graveyard. If they put something like Mini P.E.K.K.A or Lumberjack on the giant, their tower gets flooded with skeletons. If they overcommit to the graveyard, the giant gets 2 or 3 clean swings. Either way, you're winning the trade. In this combo, timing is everything, and knowing your opponent's counters and predicting them effectively makes all the difference. You want the graveyard to activate right as the giant crosses the bridge. Too early, and the skeletons get cleared before the giant tanks. Too late, and your graveyard gets shut down before it can spawn the critical wave. The first 3 seconds of the graveyard determine whether you get 200 damage or 1000. Archers, Valkyrie, Baby Dragon, Mother Witch, minions are all common counters to graveyard. But this is where your support cards come into play. Poison is the obvious choice, that not only clears swarm units, but stays for 8 seconds, forcing your opponent to delay their graveyard defense or lose it immediately. Giant graveyard decks usually come with the Bowler and the Witch as additional troops to support the big push. The Bowler acts as a second tank, pushes enemies away from your giant with every hit, and your Witch provides great splash damage to any ground or air cards, as well as creating a distraction element in the form of extra skeletons. Although this deck is quite popular already, it became even more popular and used within the Clash community due to it being Jinxie's main deck for a while, which includes the giant, graveyard, Witch, Bowler, Snowball, Guards, Minions, and Arrows. Next, we have the P.E.K.K.A Goblin Giant combo. Although this combo looks weird at first because the P.E.K.K.A is a single target, ground-only defensive beast, and the Goblin Giant is a semi-tanky win condition with built-in chip damage, they're not exactly soulmates, but when you play them together, something brutal happens. Because the Goblin Giant goes straight to the tower, it means you really can't prevent at least some damage to be dealt to the tower by it. Even if you try to distract it with a troop in the center, it will just keep going, leaving the P.E.K.K.A to deal with the threat. It's also great because trying to distract it with a building won't really do much, since the P.E.K.K.A can just take it out with one hit, leaving the Goblin Giant to continue marching towards the tower. The Spear Goblins on the Giant's back also work to eliminate any small swarm cards around it, and it helps the P.E.K.K.A eliminate many tanks. And if you really want to make this combo oppressive and dominating, you add Fisherman. The Fisherman will hook any counters your opponent drops into P.E.K.K.A's hit range, so instead of the P.E.K.K.A slowly going up to them, it makes the Trooms come to it. This isn't one of the most famous or played combos out there, but it's lethal when played right, and definitely hard to defend against. Although many people call it a no-skill combo, this next one is the real debate. The Expo Tesla. This combo is the reason so many players have trust issues. You're winning, feeling great, and suddenly you see Expo at the bridge, Tesla behind it, and now your tower is melting while your win condition is still mid-cycle, and you just uninstall the game in shame. This is a classic drop at the bridge and defend like your life depends on it, hoping your Expo can lock on the tower. But it's more of a deck than a single 2-card combo, because Expo and Tesla alone won't be as effective without the rest of the deck supporting it, like Archers, Knight, or Ice Spirit. Tesla's placement is what makes this synergy oppressive. The Tesla covers both ground and air, and it only pops up when enemies are in range, making it incredibly difficult to target when underground. It also acts as a shield for the Expo, pulling troops its way along with your Archers and Knight cleaning up everything. And because Expo decks are built to be cheap, you cycle fast, meaning you can deploy your Expo and Tesla more frequently, allowing more tower hits and eventually the win. This deck has a lot of discussions and debate around it. Some call it one of the hardest decks to play due to the fact that you need smart placement and excellent prediction in order to allow your Expo to actually connect to the tower, while others call it a no-skill deck. You just place your Expo again and again, hoping you get the tower, and if you don't, the chip damage will give you the win in the tiebreaker. In my honest opinion, I think the Expo Tesla is not an easy deck to play with. Getting that tower lock is much harder than it looks, unless you perfectly counter every troop your opponent places. Next is the famous Lumberjack Balloon, also known as Numberloon. This combo was the reason Muhammad Light lost in the 2021 finals, and it's one of the most famous and annoying combos to play against, because one small misplacement or if you're caught off cycle, your tower is basically gone in one push. Balloon by itself is already a win condition with massive damage, but it's slow and easily countered by a building. But when you pair it with a Lumberjack, you've got the winning combo. The Lumberjack will run ahead, absorb some damage, maybe even take out a defending troop or building, and then as he dies, he drops the Rage, which gives the Balloon the movement speed boost as well as damage boost needed to reach the tower and destroy it. What makes this combo especially cruel is when it's paired with freeze. Even if your opponent defends with archers or musketeers, you freeze everything and watch half of the tower's health disappear, or even sometimes destroy it completely. Another classic combo with the Balloon is the Lava Loon. The Lava Hound is a 7 elixir flying tank with one job: soak up all the damage. It doesn't deal much damage in itself, but it splits into lava pups on death, which can be surprisingly deadly if left alone. Drop a balloon behind it and you can take down a tower almost immediately. Because of the Lava Hound's incredible tanking ability, it distracts and takes a hit from every troop your opponent places. Even if they try defending with a building, your balloon or lava pups will deal with them. This combo will almost always force out a lot of elixir from your opponent in order to defend perfectly. That's hoping they have the right air defense in their deck, because if they don't, it's an easy 3 crown. Next, we have a combo that I personally hate to go against, as I always struggle to defend perfectly, and it's the Elixir Golem Healer. The E-Golem is already an annoying troop to deal with. It costs 3 elixir, targets buildings directly, it's fairly tanky, and it works just like a normal golem, splitting into 2 smaller golems when it dies, and then each spawning 2 more for a total of 4. This means using it as a defensive option and building a counter push from there is the key to a successful push, and when you drop a healer behind it, it restores the health lost as it pushes to the tower. The key with the push is when the golem dies into 2 and then 4 smaller ones, this is when the bulk of the damage is done, and with the healer behind, this means the smaller golems will survive even longer, dealing even more damage. Add an Electro Dragon or a Baby Dragon supporting them from the air, and you got a huge push that will be a pain to deal with. And finally, we have arguably one of the most hated combos in the entire game, the Royal Recruits and Royal Hogs combo. This combo overwhelms both lanes in a matter of seconds. Splitting Recruits and Hogs means your opponent now has 2 tower threatening pushes to deal with at the same time. Even when you have the perfect splash counter ready, like Valkyrie, Bomb Tower or Fireball, your timing has to be flawless. One misplacement and suddenly both your towers are at half health. You're basically defending an entire army that's running towards your towers on both lanes. It takes more skill to defend the Hogs and the Recruits than it takes to actually play them. This combo is usually paired with cards like Flying Machine, Zappies or Barbarian Barrel, all of which add to the swarm factor. And while it's not the most popular in high ladder meta, this combo will dominate in mid ladder. Most mid ladder decks are built for single lane pushes. The Royal Recruits plus Royal Hogs will exploit that gap and forces players into awkward, unbalanced defenses that quickly collapse. So these are the 10 combos everyone should know. Master even one of these combos and suddenly you're not just surviving mid ladder, you're dominating it. Make sure to like the video if you learned something new, and don't forget to subscribe.